We're awaiting an update from the FBI in Flint, Michigan. Police there are investigating a possible terror attack. This is after a police officer was stabbed in the back and the neck. It happened at Bishop International Airport. The suspect was taken into custody at the scene. All passengers are safe, but the area has been evacuated and the airport still remains closed. Here's what we know. Terror has not been ruled out as a motive. The police officer was stabbed and is in stable condition and expected to be okay. The suspect was detained and is now being questioned by police. The FBI released this statement, and I'm quoting here, "We're aware of reports that the attacker made statements immediately prior to or while attacking the officer, but it's too early to determine the nature of these alleged statements or whether or not this was an act of terrorism." Paula Reid joins me now from Washington. Paula, are they still not ruling out terrorism? What are you hearing?
That's exactly right. At this point, they have not ruled out terrorism. And Rena, any stabbing, any shooting, anything like that that happens inside an airport, particularly in the public section of the airport before people have gone through screening, well, automatically investigators tell me that they do think terrorism at first, and then they work to gather evidence and try to rule that out or confirm their suspicions. At this point, we know they are questioning the man who was arrested in this incident and trying to get more information, particularly about those witness accounts of what he did or did not yell right before the stabbing.
And Paula, where do you think this investigation goes from here?
Well, it shouldn't take too long. If he is a cooperative witness, assuming he has counsel, he's a cooperative witness, it shouldn't take too long to determine whether or not this was either inspired by some sort of terrorist element or if it was something else. Clearly, in order to stab someone, you arguably have some sort of mental health issues. So there have been incidents where at first it looked like terrorism, and then come to find out there was someone with severe mental health issue and no connection to terrorism who went out and conducted something that sort of looks like what we've seen people who are inspired by ISIS do. But at this point, investigators say they have not ruled anything out. They're trying to talk to him to confirm what witnesses have reported.
And Paul, we're expecting an FBI press conference from right outside that airport there. What are you expecting the FBI will say?
Well, first of all, they're probably not going to say much. I've been in communication with the FBI throughout most of the day, and at this point, Rena, it seems like they don't have a lot of facts confirmed. What they have confirmed, though, and it is a little bit of good news, is that the officer who was stabbed, he has been upgraded to stable condition. Sources tell us that his injuries are mostly at this point superficial, so that is some good news. But in terms of the investigation itself, it is still in the early stages. They are still questioning him, and at that stage, they're not likely to reveal too much of what they know at this point. So, Rena, I'm managing expectations. I don't expect them to reveal a lot of new details.
Okay, that's good to know. But, Paul, I'm curious if the airport is still under lockdown.
Last I checked, it was. The FAA ground stop had been lifted because, as you know, shortly after this stabbing, they evacuated the entire airport. There was a ground stop. They had canines go and sweep the entire premises. But as I understand it, the airport is still closed, but those planes that were on the tarmac were able to depart.
Typically, Paula, when it comes to investigating this type of a thing, does it go directly to the FBI usually?
That's a great question. Most acts of violence that occur within an airport or on airplanes, they do go to the FBI at first because, like I said, anytime you have a shooting or a stabbing or any act of violence inside an airport, the first concern is to determine whether or not this is terrorism, and then, of course, whether or not there's anything else, any additional devices, any additional actors. So, yes, the jurisdiction does typically go very quickly to the FBI whenever you have any incidents of violence within an airport or on an airplane. Now, if they can quickly determine that it is a domestic dispute or a business deal gone wrong or something that is not really terrorism related, it's possible sometimes they would hand it off back to the local officials. But when it comes to airports, they don't take a lot of precautions. And the feds, the ATF, the FBI, they swooped right in here.
And Paula, have we heard anything from the White House? Do we know if the president's been briefed on this?
We do. We know that the president has been briefed on this stabbing. Also, you know, another sign that perhaps this is not just a random act or not a domestic dispute and is more likely looking like some sort of national security incident.
Paula Reid coming to us from Washington. Thank you for joining us, Paula.